I contracted a chronic condition due to a misdiagnosis. Can I claim damages against the hospital or the individual doctor? The answer, in short, is yes, but certainly depends on the circumstances of the event, being the alleged misdiagnosis and perhaps the reporting and the documentation subsequent to the event. So, if you can establish the cause and effect, and that is that the misdiagnosis is what led to your chronic condition, one, and is that obviously misdiagnosis was actually a result of some sort of medical negligence or medical malpractice, and then yes, you would potentially have a recourse against both the hospital and the doctor. However, you will need to have some kind of document or some form of proof to establish that relationship between the cause and effect. In the UAE and in Dubai in particular, there is I mean, I guess in the UAE depends on where the hospital is. So in Dubai, it's under the jurisdiction of the Dubai Health Authority or DHA, and outside of Dubai, it's the Ministry of Health or MOHAP. So depending on where the hospital is, you ultimately need to report this event first at the hospital, and then the hospital would and or one of these authorities, DHA or the Ministry or MOHAP. And then they will appoint, there's a committee there, medical liability committee, they will appoint a team to examine the particular event, and they will determine as whether there was malpractice and whether the malpractice was a result of the doctor or the result of the team of the medical team or the hospital. And so you will need that sort of a document to ultimately be able to seek compensation or reimbursement or compensation for future damages on which you will be relying in court. So you will ultimately need to file a court case unless the hospital, which is unlikely, offers you an amicable settlement without having to go to court. But in most cases, you need to be prepared to file a court case. But to file a court case, you need to have some sort of documentation, i.e., you need this report from the Medical Liability Committee. And obviously the report has to be clear enough and establish this was a result of this misdiagnosis or the result of this malpractice that you have developed this chronic condition. So that's basically the way to do it, the formal way to do it, and perhaps to manage your expectations, that what you will need to be prepared to do. Another way, kind of a bit of a shortcut, is that you can file a request to the court to appoint an expert. And an expert will be appointed, and through this expert, because it will be a court-appointed expert, so it's outside of a full-fledged case yet, but this expert would then approach the hospital and request various documents, and then we'll put together an expert report, and then it was on the basis of this expert report, and then you can file also a court case. But in most cases, this expert will also need some kind of documents from this liability committee, medical liability committee, and so therefore, it's not likely that the report will be sufficient enough for you to actually file a court case in the local courts seeking compensation for this medical malpractice.